What up, though? What up, though? It's the incomparable Deezil Greezil, man. It's the morning after the presidential debate. And boy, we got some things to talk about. I watched the entire debate last night. A lot of y'all probably did, or at least tried to. For lack of a better word, it was a shit show. But at this point, that's to be expected. I don't know if these debates are shit shows because of Trump, or these debates are shit shows because debates are shit shows. Anytime I watch these debates, man, it always takes me back to the past 25 years of my employment life I spent in corporate America. You know, you worked any sort of corporation, man. Y'all had these meetings, these quarterly meetings, these yearly recaps, where we go over the goals and shit like that. These are normally the meetings where you see a bunch of people who work for your company, but you never really see them. You just really hear about them in emails and press releases and things of that sort. But this is sometimes they actually come to where you work, or sometimes they do it over video conference. And they spew out a bunch of numbers. They really don't mean much to most people, and let you know that we're moving in the right direction. And it's a bunch of malarkey, to quote the homie Joe Biden. But that's a thing, right? It's a thing. And so I've started to equate these presidential debates, State of the Unions, anything of that nature to the same experience, because there's people who are supposed to be our leaders, and they're telling us about where we stand, and are always trying to tell you that things aren't what you think they are, and tell you what they actually are. So last night, I'm watching the debate, man. Kamala is just like the rest of them. The biggest thing I take away from this is Kamala and Trump pretty much the same person. Their debate styles are very, very similar. I thought Kamala would have been more poised in some moments, but it seemed like she stooped down to Trump's level. And maybe that's just how she is. I mean, she is a politician. She is a lawyer. It's like we have a shady businessman on one end and a lawyer on the other. And people are like, which one should we trust? And I just come from a world where shady businessmen are considered shady because they're willing to do whatever it takes to have profitable businesses. If that means being shady or shrewd, they don't have an issue doing that. And lawyers, I don't know if anyone looks at lawyers as having a reputation for being honest. I don't know who looks at lawyers and says, hey, it's as honest as a lawyer. It's like lawyers pretty much lie. That's what they do. They find legal ways to lie to prove their point. So businessmen and lawyers pretty much have the same agenda and the same communication styles. They say what they feel they have to say to win, right? I don't know, man. I'm still processing a lot. It's a couple. I would say this. It doesn't seem like either one of these candidates has a plan, because none of them were answering the questions that were asked in a direct manner. I'm disappointed in Kamala for using her time to answer Trump back and letting him kind of control the pace of things instead of just sticking to her agenda and telling us what she plans to do. It seemed like Kamala, she wanted to spend a lot of time talking about that Trump doesn't have a plan or what Trump wasn't going to do, instead of just taking this time to tell us what you're going to do. Because if it's one thing Trump doesn't need, is he doesn't need you to tell the world who he is. Let Trump talk. Trump is a straight shooter for the most part when it comes to saying what he thinks. You know what I'm saying? So when I say a straight shooter, I'm not talking about from a moral or integrity perspective. I'm just saying he says what he thinks. He doesn't filter it. And honestly, people who don't filter things are genuinely considered more honest because there's not a buffer. They're not trying to mislead you with their words so much as convince you. Kamala's plan is, hey, if you have a baby, we're going to give you $6,000 for the first year. I think that's the type of shit that encourages people to stay on welfare and have babies. You know what I'm saying? People are already having babies to stay on welfare. Now you're like, hey, get an extra $6,000 for that baby for the first year. Whereas Trump is like, man, we're not giving you shit for that baby that first year. You shouldn't have had a baby unless you can afford it, but we will give you a job so where you won't need the $6,000 stipend for the first year type shit. This kind of keeps me in a loop that Democrats want to keep you on welfare. The shit that Democrats are dangling in front of you to get your vote is free money. We'll give you $6,000 if you have a baby. We'll give you up to $25,000 down payment assistance if your parents didn't own a home. So you basically got to be second generation or third generation poverty to qualify for that. You can't be like a lot of us who may have had parents in middle class situations who were able to purchase homes and do advantageous things because of the economy, the state of things then, that we really just can't do just because our money ain't stretching as far as their money did. So that's another factor. Still no solutions. I wanted to hear, like, how you going to fix the fucking economy? How are you going to get those groceries cheaper? You know, she did a little interview where she talked about attacking price gouging, and I was like, that's not going to fix inflation. That's not going to put more money back in our pockets. But still really no concrete details of what the plan is. So anyone who's voting for Kamala for policy, I'm like, what policy is that? Outside of her stance on women's rights, what policy did she actually outline? Or what stance did she actually take that was clear-cut and definitive? Likewise, I don't really like how Trump, kind of backpedaled away from the abortion conversation about whether or not he would ban a bill that would make, abortion illegal. He never would answer directly. As a bullshitter who knows bullshit when I hear it, that's concerning. However, I will say he was like, even when they tried to get her to answer it, he was like, it doesn't matter because it's going to be a state issue. So I think his stance on abortion is clear. He wants it to be a state issue and not a federal issue. I think morally, he may not be pro-abortion for whatever reason. But I think on the record, as far as policy-wise, he's like, I want nothing to do with it. That's really all you can ask for. If you don't want the federal government intervening, all you can ask for is to be a state choice. Let the people in your state decide where y'all stand on abortion. And so when they kept trying to redirect him to answer, he was like, it doesn't fucking matter because it's going to be a state issue. Apparently, Trump doesn't want a scenario to exist to where it is a federal issue, because then maybe he can have his feet held to the fire and they'll say what you voted for, and there'll be a paper trail directly linking him to a position where he's like, hey, man, this shouldn't be our discussion. I don't want to fight with y'all about it. Y'all fight amongst yourselves on a state level. Kamala's whole premise is he wants to take away women's rights, which makes sense because her whole premise is, hey, you should vote for me because I'm a woman. Men are bad, And so if you're a woman and you want to vote for Kamala because of your rights, your reproductive rights, I can respect that. But just keep in mind that after you get those reproductive rights sorted out, you're going to have to take care of these babies. And that's going to require fucking jobs and a stronger economy, not tax stipends and shit like that to just put Band-Aids on bullet holes, It's not ideal. Far from that. When give another example. When Kamala was like, he took members of the Taliban to Camp David to have a meeting with them. And instead of focusing on the fact that he met with these terrorist leaders and got them to end the war within 14 months, she kept focusing on, he took them to Camp David as if we're supposed to have some emotional attachment to what Camp David is or means. And he took them to our sacred place. He could have took them to fucking Dave and Buster's for all I care. Like, that is not really noteworthy where he took them. What's noteworthy is who he took and what they discussed, not the location. I don't know if the location mattered. But it's like she wants us to focus on the emotional connection. He took them to Camp David. Can you believe that? He took them to grandma's house. We don't give a fuck about Camp David. We don't give a fuck where he met with these people. We care that he met with these people and got Americans out of Afghanistan from a military perspective. That's all we care about because that saved us money. Like I say, he could have met with them anywhere. Okay. But he did meet with them. Just a bunch of malarkey. Like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't fucking good. And I walk away feeling like either one of these candidates is going to fix the economy. I walked away feeling like, we're going to get 4 more years of bullshit if Harris wins. 4 more years of the hole getting deeper, the middle class gap getting wider, less and less of us being able to afford homes. When you talk about median home prices increasing between 40 and 60% nationwide, depending on where you live, and none of us has had an increase of our income of 40 to 60% for the most part. When you talk about fracking, we don't give a frack about fracking, bro. We give a fuck about dollars in pockets, man. It's like a whole bunch of doublespeak, and then you get on social media and people are like, she ate, she didn't, she's never eaten. None of these people are eating. None of these people are telling you anything that should move the needle either way. It's personal for so many of y'all. So many women, it's personal. You know what I'm saying? It's personal. Man, this is business. This is politics. This ain't personal, bruh. I did think that Trump is a master of hyperbole and time and exaggeration. And I think that just comes from having a background in business and meeting with employees and trying to communicate what you would think are big concepts to small minds in a short amount of time. And so, it's a lot of braggadocio. Like, he's like, crime is up in America and down everywhere else. And they're fact checking it like that's not true. It kind of is true. It's kind of like, crime is pretty much the fucking same with fucking minuscule improvements. But it's very facetious for him to say, other countries, they don't have crime no more because they're sitting there, they're bad guys here. No, that's not really taking place. However, we can't ignore the amounts of illegal immigrants. I don't even like to say that because Black people are the only non-immigrants, and American Blacks are the only non-immigrants in America because we came here on slave ships, allegedly. But do I believe Venezuelans are over here eating cats and dogs? Nah. And honestly, if you're a voter who hears something like that and you feel like, I need to vote for Trump because he's going to stop people from eating our cats and dogs, then you're not the most informed voter. I know there's a lot of y'all out there, just like on the blue side, there's a lot of uninformed voters. That's just Americans as a whole because we're just not very intelligent. Like y'all, not me, let's see, man. I don't want to make this video too much longer. Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala after the debate. Woo-hoo! That's good. Let's see. What was it else I want to look at? Okay, like they said, this is the type of fact checking they're saying. Trump said they left $85 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan, and PBS fact checks, and they're like, actually, it was only $7 billion. You know how much $1 billion is? Like, does it matter if it was $5 billion or $7 billion. We left billions of dollars of equipment there. That's the point he's trying to make. Y'all want to dig down into the exact dollar value. It doesn't matter. The point is we have hazardly left a bunch of shit there that we shouldn't have left. Shit that Americans paid for, that you paid for, got left. The fuck? Hey, you know, they did confirm that apparently Biden's son did get a lot of money from China. That explains, you know, why Biden feels the way he does about China. You know, bite the hand that feeds you. Kamala did get 200 Republicans to endorse her. It'll take a lot more than that to win. I think Trump makes a lot of generalizations and then people say they're lies. But I think it's just that, you know, when you communicate on a high level, and by high level, I'm not talking about from a skill perspective. I mean, from the top of the mountain down, you have to generalize things just to get concepts understood. And once concepts are understood, then you can dig into the nuance. Sometimes it all starts with just getting the concept fucking understood. You know, overall, a bunch of hubba la la blah. Don't know. Wasn't pleased. I wasn't impressed with either candidate. Hopefully they do another debate, you know, and where they can actually talk about some policies that fucking matter and what they're going to do and how they're going to do it instead of a bunch of finger pointing. You know, but hey, man, that's all I got for y'all. It's coming up on 20 minutes, man. This is enough for the recap, bro. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe, man. As always, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I am Trump adjacent. You know, and that's pretty much all I got for y'all, bro. Y'all be safe, man.